Wow, so I figured out what CERN is. CERN is about developing new worlds. So we hear about the Big Bang Theory, and I've always attached the Big Bang Theory to be with Stephen Hawking, but actually it's George Lemaitre back in like 18 something to 1966. And he coined the whole Big Bang Theory from singularity. But I don't think that things came from a single point of contact. There's contact, yes, but where did that original particle come from? That's the thing, is where did anything come from? Well, we don't know. It was just here. If energy cannot be created or destroyed, then we're just as old as the universe when you think about it, because we are the universe. It happens at the micro level as well as the macro level. And so what CERN is, when you think about it, CERN is developing new worlds. CERN is about colliding particles, protons, neutrons, electrons, and could it destroy a huge... Well, yeah, I mean, if it's not contained in a place where it's not going to affect and influence the surrounding area, then yeah, it could be destructive as like an atom bomb or a neutron bomb or a hydrogen bomb, okay? But CERN is about developing like maybe possibly new galaxies. So when you think about the galaxies that exist that we know about, like Andromeda, and then we have the Milky Way galaxy and any other galaxy, and I know the Chinese are developing their own sun system, but CERN is about taking particles and colliding them and developing new worlds. But then you think about CERN at the macro level, which is highly energetic. Then you think about CERN at the micro level, and that's viruses and antiviruses. And that is all the positive and negative evolution, reproduction, whether it's asexually or sexually. And so then when you bring together all the microbial proteins that are positive and negative, and all the different hormones that are the names of the hormones of the positive and negative proteins that make up what we see phenotypically as a man and woman, then you're seeing things kind of shift. You're seeing now more of the androgynous, and there's an androgen gene, but when you see more androgynous people, like when I'm watching Stranger Things, and Elle looks very androgynous. Gorgeous young lady, or gorgeous non-binary. I don't even know what she identifies with, but beautiful person. And just like Shiloh Marie Pitt or Shiloh Pitt, she obviously can go back and forth between what we would think phenotypically is a man or a woman, or a boy or a girl, but she's still gorgeous. Okay? And so you got to see how simulations develop, and then the law and the order. What's law and order? It's just adopting a specific ideology and a specific name and a specific construct to then work from. And then when the simulation changes, then even what we think is distinct in its category, it then starts merging together. And then we understand how positive and negative works. So if you want to see it on the macro level, it's CERN, developing new galaxies. When you want to see it at the micro level, it is either telomere reproducing, which is lengthening your telomeres, which means basically you're reproducing yourself. You're not eating yourself, like Ouroboros is eating yourself. But the JJ meta mentality is about telomerically reproducing yourself, especially when you're exposed to new viral variants that you're not supposed to resist, because if you resist it, you create a new viral variant that will inside your body. And then also, if you're not releasing those excess entities, then they will cannibalize you. That's the Ouroboros. That is the snake eating his tail. That's the hermeticism, medicine. And hermeticism is out of the Rosicrucians, because they are a compilation of Christian Gnostics and Jewish mysticism and hermeticism, which then take into account the Greek mythology, where they are actually compartmentalizing the proteins. That's where you get like Aphrodite, Hera, and Atlas, and all the different Greek gods and the demigods. When the demigods and the gods, what creates demigods is you have positive and negative. Okay? And then you have the gods that are very distinct, like Zeus, very distinct in his testosterone features. Then you have someone like Aphrodite, who's like the Greek goddesses that you see all over Facebook that are wearing their makeup and their boobs are out and they look very, very female, very much looking to procreate. And so that's where the Greek mythology is really developing condensed versions of what we want to look at as far as the order in our society. But the order is changing. And even I had to really wrap my mind around what's going on as far as what I think, who creates a baby and when. And it doesn't really matter, because you take a sperm and an egg, a positive and negative put together, you'll have new life. Who cares if it's in what we think is physically, phenotypically a female or a male that had a uterus transplant? If it can hold life and it can sustain life, then it doesn't matter what you call a person. And that's what Netflix is introducing, is then the new simulation. And it's not a bad thing. Again, it is not a bad thing. It's understanding the simulations you're under. And the old world is dying off. That's why you're seeing people who are aging. When you're aging and degrading, or A-jinn, A/Jinn, which is like a demon. Okay, now that's in the Islamic world, pre-Islamic world. The jinns are like the genies, the demons that are taking over people and cannibalizing them. And that's why people die in our society, because they have been cannibalized, the Ouroboros, by all the conflicting viral programming that they're exposed to daily, and they're not lengthening their telomeres, they're dieting, and if they're not dieting, then they have not purged out the excessive conflicting viral entities that are causing then the body not to maximize the nutrients in the food supply. So even though you're enjoying food, it's not doing anything really for you except give you superficial energy until the body cannibalizes itself. And that's what aging is in our society. And so this is why you must understand the distinction between immortality and mortality. And mortality is where you are resistant to the new information. You're resistant to assimilating to the people around you, and also not taking in evolution in a metered way. Because if you go out there so much taking on all the evolution and you're not reconciling with it in a balanced way, then it's going to age you, and it's going to cannibalize you. And then people either die from heart attacks and strokes, or they get the cancer disease and chronic illness. And so that even then you must be conservative in how much you evolve in our society, which means that now you have a chance to stay home more than not, work from home, have things delivered to you. If the evolution out there, the viruses are mutating, are so extremely aggressive. And also still you have to deal with your predispositions. And so CERN at the macro level is developing new worlds, and all the antiviruses and all the antivirals and the therapeutics on bodies that have been exposed to this new virus that happened in 2019. When you're taking something that's opposite of it, then you are developing then back-to-back pandemics, which, okay, it's not a bad thing. What they're trying to do, the architects, are trying to now get to the most strongest prototype. Though we're going to allow those in the old world, baby boomers, the silent generation, anyone that's not willing to evolve, you can live out your life and enjoy it and have fun, that's fine, and leave this world in a dignified way and allow for the new information, the new evolution. And in the transition between the old world and new world, it is painful, it is energetic, and it's a little traumatizing to those they're not aware of what's going on around them. And so to help you transition is why I recommend watching The Walking Dead, why I recommend have you watching Van Helsing on Netflix and The Vampire Diaries, because you look at them from a viral point of view, just like Stranger Things. You'll understand that they're trying to tell you something. But again, allowing those that want to live, that don't want to merge in the spirit world and their reality, their current reality, that you can just live in your fantasy, which is your current reality, and live out that programming, and then be completely unaware that there's a spiritual side to this, the viral side to this. And so that's what the Stranger Things is telling you, that there's two sides to this world. There's the viral side that has everything to do with your alimentary canal, as well as the new viruses. And then there is the reality, the face value, reality is all perception. But there's you just do your formulaic type of stuff. You go to all your celebrations, you get your degree, you go to your job, you make your money, you pay your taxes, pay this, pay that, and then you age progressively in the society. And the hospital system is the order of operations. You have the nursery all the way to palliative care, and you can live that reality. But there's another reality that also must be considered, and that's the thing with CERN. It's developing the new worlds, and giving those the opportunity to understand that there are two worlds that are merging together, and you can understand how to merge them together with yourself, or you can live separately. And usually when you're living in the world that is the spirit world, you're dead. And then you can walk around in this plasmic universe where you see the plasma. Right now you can't see the plasma except for in your blood, which holds all your B cell and T cell memories. But the Stranger Things tells you there's two worlds that CERN and those in the sciences, way high up in the sciences, are trying to merge together. And then you have to understand the energy behind it. See, now I totally get it, because I've been seeing articles saying that the universe, like the Milky Way, was built in a lab, that universe and humans were built in a lab. Well, hell yeah. When you're playing God, so to speak, in the lab, when you're putting together proteins that are positive, negative, and doing a lot of kinetic energy, and you're creating new viral babies, because that's what happens when you put protons and neutrons, electrons together that are one's a little bit more than the other, or then you have that equilibrium where they're equal to each other. But when there's one that's more than the other, then there's going to be an explosion. That'll be a new viral entity. That'll be a new energetic entity. And that's what quarks are. They are the smallest particle in the universe is a quark. But maybe there's something even smaller than a quark. I don't know. I haven't researched that. But I'm sure there is. Everything can go down to the most smallest thing. And even maybe our instruments won't detect even the most infinitesimal energy piece. That the instruments that we have can only detect a quark, but maybe there's something less than a quark. But you'll never know until you develop an instrument that can detect that. And that's what science does, is they develop instruments to detect the smallest particle in the universe all the way to the largest particle, and then figure out how to then develop organized societies and organized life forms. And and part of it is spiritual, because then people's stories around it. That's where the Bible comes in. That's where all the different allegory comes in, because how do you explain science in a way that people can kind of get it? But if you're watching like Van Helsing, and if you're watching the Vampire Diaries, if you're watching Stranger Things, like high or inebriated, or only looking for entertainment but not seeing that there's an actual message being sent in it about the world that you live in, not like there's a secret message, but when you think about it, there's so many ways you can take some of these movies that it's just purely entertainment and it's not true, which I've had that told to me by my mother. Oh, the movies aren't true. And then I realized how true the movies are. So you have every choice in the world to put your blinders on and live out your fantasy life of playing up to the specific expectations in our society, or you can merge in that you want to be able to live and transition between the old world and new world and still live and understand there's a bigger picture going on, and also to how to keep safe in this crazy society at this point. But you have the choices presented to you, but you have to understand the energy behind it. And there's so many smoke and mirrors out there, so many of them, that some people get so overwhelmed by how much of the layers of program that they're under that they just don't even want to deal with the new information. And then they deal with the whole satanic. Oh, that's satanic, that's satanic, that's satanic. But the whole Satan and Jesus and the positive and negative, all the binary arguments were given to people because they want to see new evolution come out of it. So when you're always constantly going from Lucifer and Satan, or Lucifer and Jesus, or Lucifer or Jesus and Satan, then it's like positive and negative arguments that then develop new evolutionary worlds. And then those that adopt the Satan or the Jesus side of it, they'll fall away and be recycled back into the universe, start over again. And those that understand the balance between the positive and negative, that even though you may hold a positive or more positive and negative inside as far as your viral operating system, you can still take on more of the negative and of the positive and still survive without dying. Because it's interesting when I do the face app to do the enhancements, because I like to have fun with them. Sometimes when I have my hair tied behind and it detects certain features, sometimes it'll detect a male feature, and sometimes it'll detect a female feature or a female framework to work with, as far as the face app, where they can enhance your features like Photoshop. And so I know I take on a lot of male characteristics as far as just my persona and even my facial features, as well as female features. I'm more female as far as the energy, as far as estrogen, as far as my viral makeup. But I can still take on testosterone. I may have more testosterone than some people. Other people have less testosterone, so they're very definitively, feminine. And so that's just all the hormonal distribution, and why we have certain, attractions and stuff. And so, but my husband is extremely male, like very male, and he's attracted to the female energy that I project. Okay. And so, but I don't want to be extremely female, because I'm not trying to attract every single, tomcat out there in the world. I think my husband's also attracted to my brain, not just, body parts and hormones. But I think that an ounce of intelligence goes a lot further than body parts, because they only last so long in this society that is predicated upon the physical characteristics. Okay, so understand that CERN is developing new worlds, and they're trying to figure out how to do it without destroying the world they live in. And so don't be too concerned, but understand that CERN also has everything to do with the virals and the antivirals developing new worlds, new viral pandemics. And if you're not releasing the excess within your body, and it's causing hormonal imbalances as well as the aging process, then you can't expect that you'll survive the transition between the old world and new world. And that's what goes on right now in our society. Is what's going on right now, is people are living out the old world, and they're not going to be able to survive the new world, because these viruses are going to be so aggressive. They will cause a lot of fireworks inside people who are not ready for it. And some people will die prematurely because they were not prepared to deal with the energy. And they also had predispositions that were unreconciled. And surgery and other types of medical, inventions can only go so far. At some point, you're going to have to deal with the energy conversion on your own. And that means facing your own demons. All right, bye.